I went home, tried to go to bed. Mother wanted me to come over home. I couldn't. And then I remember I went over to a little old place. There wasn't nothing there. We didn't have nothing. I guess $10 would have bought everything we had in the house, but it was ours. She kept it clean, and it was ours, and there was no place like home. I don't care how humble it is, there's no place like home. Mother's face wasn't seen right nowhere else. And I went over there and laid down, tried to go to sleep that night. I'll never forget it. And I know a little old mouse that got down in a grate there where we had some papers up there, and I heard it. And she used to lay there and she'd have her some candy, and it sounded like her hands, and I got crying. And I shut the door together, and hanging on the back of the door was her kimono hanging on the back of the door, and oh my, there it was all over again. And while I was laying there crying, someone knocked at the door. It was Mr. Broy, and he come and he said, "Brother Billy," he said, "Yes, sir, I got some bad news for you." I said, "Brother Frank, I just took her to the morgue." He said, "That's not all of it. Your baby's dying also." Sharon Rose. I said, "Surely," I said, "Doctor there, take her to the hospital now." Said he thinks she's dying. Now I couldn't hold it no longer. I got up and I tried to walk. I couldn't do it. My strength was all gone. They helped me by the arms. He set me in the old truck. They took me out there at the hospital. And I walked in here with Sam Joey. Said, "Billy, don't go to her." Said, "She's dying, sonny boy." Said, "She's contracted from her mother this tubercular meningitis and went through the spine." And said, "She's dying." Said, "You can't go in to see her." Said, "On account of Billy Paul." I said, "Doc, I gotta see my baby." And I said, "Let me see her, won't you, Doc?" He said, "Billy, I can't do it on account of Billy Paul." Said, "There's meningitis, son." Said, if you carry your clothes somewhere else." I said, "Doc, let me go down there and give me chloroform and let me die with her." I said, "Life, what is it to me now? Everything of God's gone." And he started crying. And the nurse stood there and said, "No, I can't let you go in there, Brandon." When she turned her back, I stepped around anyhow and went out into the basement of the isolated place, a very cheap-like hospital. And there down there they had a little cheesecloth laying over her face to keep the flies off, and she had a little spasm she was having with that meningitis. Had knocked out the flies was in her little baby eyes, and I shoot the flies off her eyes like that and looked down. I said, "Sure no, honey, you're not going to leave Daddy, are you?" And I looked at her little old fat legs and her little crippled hand like this, like holding like that as she's drawing, quivered. And she was looking at me, her little lips quivered. I said, "Sharon, are you going to leave Daddy?" And it looked like she was quivering so like that. And she looked up at me, and she was suffering so hard. So one of those little baby eyes, blue eyes was crossed like that. Looked at her, suffered, and so she was looked like she was trying to reach her little hands to me. Oh, it just teared my heart out of me. I looked out, oh God, from that day, that's the reason. Cross-eyed children, oh, I just can't stand to look at them. You know, God does those things. Sometimes you have to crush something to get the good out of it. Isn't that right? I've seen that little thing. I knelt down on the floor and I said, "Oh, dear God, I'm sorry that I did what I did." I said, "You took my wife, my darling away from me. Now you're taking my baby. Oh, God, please don't take my little girl. I love her with all my heart." I said, "I've served you. I've done all I wanted to do except go when you told me to down there." And I said, "Please don't take my baby." I said, "I love her. Oh, don't pull her from me, God." I said, "Take me instead of her." And as I raised my eyes, it looked like a black sheep coming forward. I know she was going there. I raised up and looked at her. I said, "God bless you, honey." I said, "Your Daddy's darling." I laid my hand over on her head and I said, "Oh, God, I don't know why you're tearing me up like this." And I said, "Still, that don't change my faith in you." I said, "In Job of old, though you slay me, yet I believe you with all my heart." I said, "I trust you, Lord." I said, "Sure, Rose, God be with you, honey. In a few minutes, the angels will come pack your little soul with the mother. I'll pick you up from here, you lay your mother's arms and bury you tomorrow." I said, "Lord, I've done all I can, but it's not my will now. Let thy will be done." I laid my hand on her little head like that. I couldn't hold myself no more. I felt myself shrinking and went down to the floor. The angels of God come pick her and took her little soul away. Her little mouth quit quivering, her little legs straightened out. God taking her away, and I stood there, my heart smashed to pieces. Looked down, I thought, "Oh, God, oh, mercy." I said, "Lord, you just take me, Lord. Just let me. I said, when I was a kid, everybody laughed at me, called me sissy, and I went hungry and went without and everything else. I said, here it comes down to a place you give me a little home, and I tried to live right. And then you give me a little home, come take it away from me. God, let me go with them. I said, don't let me stay here any longer. I don't want to stay. I cried and lifted up my hands to him, and I said, down in my heart, there's something that I love you. No matter what you've done, I love you. I held my hand to him. Nurse come in, looked at the baby, and crossed his little hand. They come pick me up. Went out. 2 days later, we took her up there on the hill. Brother Smith, Methodist preacher, standing there preaching the funeral. When they went to lower her down with her mother, I looked at her. He got some clods of dirt in his hand, walked around, looked over at me and turned his head here. Oh, I just couldn't stand it. Had little Billy falling on my arm here, 18 months old. I said, Billy, honey, someday you and I will go see Mama and Sissy. I heard him with the clods on top of that casket saying ashes to ashes and dust to dust. Oh my. It seemed like coming down through the little maple trees, the breeze started blowing, and there's the land beyond the river that they call the sweet forever. We only reach that shore by faith degrees. One by one we gain the portal, there to dwell with the immortal. Someday they'll ring those golden bells for you and me. I turned from the grave, went home. Poor little old Billy sitting on my arm, didn't know what it was all about. I get his Bibles and put them in my pocket and pat him like this, walk the street. Backing down to one night like to kill me. I walked him in my arms like this, he's crying for his mother. Didn't have any mother to go to. And I was walking back to the yard like this. He said, Daddy, where is my mama? I said, she went to see Jesus. He said, when's she coming back? I want her. I said, well, honey, I don't know. She'll come back. I started walking like this out towards the tree where my old boat used to sit. I had a little hunting dog out there. I started going there. He looked up and said, Daddy, I thought I seen Mother up there beside that clown. I almost fell with the little fella. I staggered around, sat on there, and I just couldn't get up. Hours passed. Poor little fellow sitting there crying for his mama. I went on, oh God, I know I've done wrong, but someday it'll be different, surely. I went on, tried to go to work, and I remember one morning, I went to work at a public service company, working on lines. I climbed up a pole one morning, and I was singing real early. I was singing on the hill far away, stood an old rugged cross, the emblem of suffering and change. While I was there, I happened to look up, the sun was coming this way, and the sun shining against me, and on them cross arms of that pole, there it was, like a body moving, the shadow on the side of the hill of the cross. I thought, yes, that's right, my sins put him there. Oh, I said, God, I just couldn't stand it. I can understand my wife going, but my baby, I couldn't get that baby. Why did God take it? I looked down, I got real nervous. I pulled off my rubber glove, 2300 running right here by me. I said, God, I hate to be a coward, but Sharon, Daddy's coming home to see you in a few minutes. I pulled the glove off and intended to put my hand on that wall, broke every bone in your body. I think got beyond myself. I was going crazy. I couldn't settle myself. And how I ever got off of that pole, I know not yet. But when I come to myself, I was sitting down with this pole all hunkered down like this, crying, and great drops of sticky perspiration all over me. I believe if God hadn't foreordained, I believe in foreordination, if that gift should go forth, I'd have died right there. I went home. I quit that morning. I went over there. I just couldn't stand it. Went over to Mother's that evening. I was going home, and I reached around the side of the door there and picked up some mail. And when I went inside, the first letter I got said, Miss Sharon Rose Branham, her little Christmas saving, 80 cents. It was all over again. I knelt down with that old army cot that I was sleeping on out there in the kitchen. It had gotten cold weather. Frost was up all over the floor. I knelt down and I said, God, please let me go or something. Ease my heart. I can't stand it like this. And while I was praying and crying, I went to sleep. I dreamed that I was out west somewhere. I had on one of those big western hats and I was going down across the prairie whistling, the wheel on the wagon is broken. And I had to look, there's an old prairie schooner there and one of the wheels was broke, hanging down. And standing there was a beautiful young lady in her teens, her blonde hair blowing, her blue eyes beautiful. I passed by and I took off my hat, said, good morning, ma'am. Started walking on, whistling, the wheel of the wagon's broken. She said, good morning, Dad. I looked around, I said, what'd you say? She said, I said, good morning, Dad. I said, well, lady, you call me your daddy, you're as old as I am. She said, Dad, you don't know where you are. And I said, I don't understand. She said, on earth, I was your little Sharon. I said, Sharon? She said, yes, these old little babies up here, Daddy. Said, we're all the same age here, we're immortal. And I said, oh. I said, where's Mother? And she said, she's waiting for you. And she said, where's Billy Paul? And I said, well, I just left him a while ago. I said, I don't understand this. She said, Mother's waiting for you up at your new home. And I said, new home? I said, oh, honey, there's something wrong here. I said, Branhams are vagabonds. We never have homes. I said, we just poor. And she said, but Dad, you got one up here. I turned to look, there's a great palace. The glory of God coming from around us. She said, that's your home, Dad. That Mama's waiting for you there. And I turned and started up this walk going like this, going towards the home, singing my home, sweet home. There she come out to meet me again. Heaven's a real place. She stretched forth her lovely being, her arms as she always did. That black hair was glistening, those eyes once again in perfect health. She stretched her arms and she said, Bill. I went up to her and I fell down like this. Many times when they come in from meetings, be so tired, she'd put her arms around me and always pat me. She'd say, oh, honey, you try so hard. I'm afraid you're going to break your health down while you're young. And pat me like that all back. And I fell down at her knees, and she put her arm around me. She said, dear. And I said, honey, I don't understand it. I said, I met Sharon down there. She said, yes. She said she's going down to wait for you. I said, didn't our girl make a beautiful young lady? She said, yes. I said, she's waiting for Billy Paul, she said. Said, yes, said, won't you come in? And I said, honey, I raised up and I said, I'm so tired, I can't hardly stand it. I said, I've just been praying for the sick and praying for the sick. And I hadn't had these meetings then, remember. And she said, I know all about it, Bill. Praying for the sick. That's the reason I believe that sometime my going will be from the platform. See? I said, I've just been praying for the sick. I'm so worn out, I can't hardly say it. She said, I know. She said, won't you sit down? And I looked around, there was a great big Morris chair sitting there. And I looked over at her, and she looked at me and smiled. She knew what we were talking about. I went one time, we just had old hickory bottom chairs. I don't know what you know where they are, not laced across the hickory. We had two. And there was one of them there, and I bought me a Morris chair. I paid $15 for it. I paid $1 down and $1 a week to pay for it, and I paid about $5 or $6. I just couldn't make the payment. You know how things get hard, and you can't make ends meet, you know what I mean. And I just couldn't make the payment, and they sent me a bill, and they was going to come get it. And one day I come in, she had me cherry pie baked, bless her heart. And she met me at the door, and she just wanted me to go fishing or something that night. And she had the cherry pie baked for me. She said, oh, I got you the best cherry pie. She knew I loved cherry pie. And I thought there was something wrong. And so after supper, she said, "Now I had the kiddies to dig some fish for them, so we're going down the river to fish." And I seen she was all excited. And after supper, I said, "Let's walk in the front room a little while." She said, "No, let's go out." And I put my arm around her. I said, "Oh, honey, you're a lovely wife." And we walked to the door, and she put her head over my shoulder and started crying. She said, "Bill, I tried hard to keep it for you." I said, "I know it, honey, but we couldn't help it. I'd come in sometimes so tired, I couldn't hardly sit down on that little old Mars chair, that little footstool. I'd sit there reading my Bible until I'd go to sleep. And it was gone, man. We didn't have it. I couldn't save for it. I would be wore out." And she looked around and said, "There, I want to see her in this vision." She said, "You remember that chair?" I said, "Yes." Said the finance company come down. I said, "Yeah, I remember, honey." He said, "But they'll never come get this one. This one's already paid for. Sure. Sit down just a little while." Oh, Christians, people, one of these days I know beyond the reach of mortal ken. Someday, God only knows just where or when, the wheels of mortal life will all stand still. That I'm going to take a trip to Zion Hill. That I'll see her there, and I'll see Jesus. I'll see my baby. I'll see my loved ones. That'll wait for me a glad tomorrow, where gates of pearl swing open wide. When I cross this veil of sorrow, I'll rest upon the other side. Hallelujah! I love Him today with all my heart. I want to be a baby. Oh God, have mercy. As the St. Patrick's cross, this streets of tears and heartache and trouble. Oh, Father, how shameful I am of my life. Why didn't I know you before? I'm trying with all my heart, dear Jesus, to live for you, to do the thing no matter what this cross is or how scornful it seems to be. I love you, dear Jesus. You've broken my heart over and over, but I love you for it.